Hello, it's Lexi. Today I'll be talking about the economic impact of COVID-19 in Hillsborough County, New Hampshire. So for my infographic, I chose Hillsborough County because that's where I'm from, and personally, I've seen the impacts of the pandemic on my neighbors and people in my town, and I just wanted to learn more about the economics behind these changes. So about Hillsborough, Hillsborough is the most populated county in New Hampshire, and because it's southern New Hampshire, there are a lot of commuters to and from Massachusetts, and these people filtering in and out were not really great for the pandemic. In the first 4 months from March 1st to July 3, the entire state of New Hampshire had almost 6,000 cases, and over one half of these were in Hillsborough County. Another thing about Hillsborough is that it's more racially and ethnically diverse than the state as a whole. Half of the Black and Hispanic population lives in Hillsborough, and obviously there was a disproportionate impact of COVID on racial and ethnic minorities who already have a wide disparity in terms of average income, and this made Hillsborough the most economically hard hit county in New Hampshire. There was already a wide disparity between ethnicities' average incomes, as you can see here, but the pandemic definitely exacerbated those disparities. So, looking at this chart, you can see the different Hillsborough towns' average household income side by side with the total number of COVID cases. And looking at the different areas, one really interesting thing that popped out to me was that many higher income areas are reporting high cases of COVID-19. Like the Southeast area is more blue, more affluent. Yet when you look at the COVID cases, you can see that it's really red, meaning that they have more cases. And a similar phenomenon is happening with the low-income areas reporting lower cases of COVID, as seen in the northwestern area. And at first, you might think this doesn't really make sense. People of low income have disproportionately higher rates of COVID. But why does it seem like the exact opposite is happening in Hillsborough? There are several reasons why this may be happening. One might be because of population, since the graph is taking account of the number of cases rather than percentage of population. Another might be because people who are of low income may not have the resources to receive a diagnosis, and even if they do contract COVID, it may go unaccounted for. So, yeah, those are some possible reasons for this seemingly unusual trend. But to answer this question, I want to look at this graph about the changes in consumer spending. So you can see that people of low income who already spend much less than their middle or high income counterparts had a much more significant drop in spending, besides the spikes that happen every month when food stamps are available. You can see here. But another interesting thing is that those of high income saw a more significant decline in consumer spending compared to those of middle income, particularly in services that require in person interactions. And in the next graph, you can see that affecting the change in small business revenue. You can see that small businesses in high income areas suffered the most because of this reduction in spending by high income consumers. There was a 43.6% decline in revenue for high income areas versus a 3.2% gain for businesses in low income areas. And as these businesses lost revenue, they would lay off their employees, which brings me to the last chart, which shows how those who earn lower and middle income wages saw a slight increase in employment, while those who earned a low wage saw a significant decline in their employment. This makes sense from the trends we've seen so far, like the high income people in affluent neighborhoods are not spending on businesses that require in person interaction, which leads these businesses to lay off employees, particularly low income workers. And it's important to note that this is not just happening in New Hampshire. Across the US, nearly 50% of low wage workers working in the highest rent zip codes lost their jobs compared to 30% of the lowest rent zip codes. People of low income are the most at risk for COVID, and because for many of these people their job involves working for more affluent consumers in higher income areas, it means that short-term policy efforts should be deliberate in aiding these low-income people because they will be the most affected. Fortunately, New Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan, along with other New Hampshire leaders, is in the works of passing an additional COVID-19 relief package to support public health and economic recovery, especially for low-income individuals, businesses, and communities. So yeah, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.